Ice Spice's career is kinda like an ice cube in the ice tray. It's put in the freezer and then it's getting cold and solid. And you think, maybe it'll stay this solid forever. But eventually, someone will take it out of the freezer, and the ice cube will either end up into something amazing and then turn into something amazing. Or, well, it falls on the floor and it slowly starts to melt. And it's looking like Ice Spice was the ice cube that hit the ground and is slowly but surely starting to melt. And then someone will eventually come and kick it under the fridge and it'll evaporate into thin air. Ice Spice came in solid and strong. She was seen as a breath of fresh air. Her genuine personality and her unique ginger hairstyle made her even more desirable in the public eye. And it just seemed she had it all in her hands. The fans loved her. The men loved her. The streams was there. She was charting. She had all the stability. It was all working in Ice's favor. Not to mention getting a cosign from the biggest female rap MC, Nicki Minaj. And then Drake also publicly supported her, which gave her another boost and just a certain level of credibility. And by August of 2023, it seemed like Ice's reign was unstoppable. But you guys have to remember, as soon as an ice cube hits the ground, it's only a matter of time before it melts into the floor and eventually evaporates into thin air. Born at the turn of the century, hailing all the way from the Bronx, this is Ice's Naja Godson, better known as Ice Spice, and her rise to fame was one for the books. She was everywhere and on every screen. It was hard to miss her, and if you did, you definitely didn't miss her viral hit, Munch. You thought I was feeling you? But believe it or not, that's not where it all started. Let's go back to when the water was being poured into the ice tray for a second. Ice Spice's career started to take off when she participated in Erica Banks' viral Busted TikTok challenge in early 2021. That gained her millions of views. This alone threw her into the public eye, especially amongst the Gen Zers. She was also started going viral for doing other little challenges on TikTok. All of this helped her gain traction until the water in the tray started to freeze, turning into something solid. When she released her single Munch, this was when she really went from TikTok famous to being one of rap's new superstars. Munch was released August 10th of 2022, and in about a few months, this song would be everywhere on the platform TikTok, where it was embraced by many users and even some celebrities, changing it up, and everyone was having a good time also. And this put Ice Spice in the public eye at an alarming speed, and her signature hairstyle helped put her apart from anyone else, along with her all-natural sex appeal. But here's the thing, there's more to Ice Spice going viral and having success so quickly. She also had a very good force behind her as well, and that was none other than her longtime friend, Riot, who was also her producer. Not only was he just a producer though, he was also very connected in the industry through his father, who was a very popular DJ and radio host in New York. And I'm almost positive that had something to do with why and how Ice Spice was able to get so many radio spins during her blow-up era. Not only that, but she was also able to get her hands on insights and valuable information on the music industry, where she can then take it and apply it in the way she saw fit, strategically of course. And when you put that together with her unique sound and her style, plus the prior knowledge and the audience she built, this made her the perfect candidate to be the next big thing. Let's throw in some catchy hooks, some beats, and then not to mention she was able to blend pop and drill rap together. But that was just the beginning, because soon Ice Spice would be a full force. She was able to score another big hit with Pink Panthers, and then she had the support from Drake. And then one of her biggest co-signers was none other than Nicki Minaj. Now Nicki Minaj, the reigning queen of rap, she played a big part debatably in why Ice Spice was able to remain relevant for so long, and why her fall from grace hasn't really been that graceful. But we'll get there later on in the video. This duo released two highly anticipated singles that went top 5 and top 10 and remained on the charts for weeks, followed by another highly anticipated collab from another A-lister, none other than Taylor Swift, which their collab Karma debuted at number 2 on Billboard 100. Just 1 year after bursting on the scene with her viral TikTok hit Munch, Spice had saw her fan base explode from 10,000 monthly listeners to over 47 million listeners a month on Spotify. And this was from August 2022 to August 2023. Riding off the cosigns of arguably two of the world's biggest female artists made it seem like Little Orphan Annie was here to stay. With that being said, so what really happened? How did someone who was having so much success in the industry start to slowly melt away into thin air? It's time to take this ice tray out the freezer. Now at this point, the ice cube is out the freezer and the ice is now on the floor. So you know what that means. The time is ticking. And that's what it was with Ice Spice when she started facing huge problems in her career. Ice had released Deli, so I mean, she still was swinging, and it seems to be going fairly okay. But the first kick to Ice Spice was with her high school acquaintance, Baby Stormy. And they go way back. Their issues started when she accused Ice Spice of being her high school bully and using her for industry connections. It continued as Stormy continued to make allegations against Ice Spice. It even got into their professional lives. It ended up getting so bad, y'all, that Stormy even leaked messages between her and Ice Spice when they were talking about private information, including deals, and other artists, including Nicki Minaj. Now, although Nicki remained quiet on how she felt about what Ice Spice was saying, her fan base, the Barbs, they were not silent at all. And because Nicki was one of the biggest driving forces behind Ice Spice, that beef did somewhat hurt, because a lot of support she was getting was from the Barbs. She made claims saying she gave Nicki the Barbie deal, and she even compared her to her own mom, calling them both ungrateful and delusional. Not to mention, she started to feud with other popular rap girls like Doechii, Cardi B, and Lotto, which while debatably did nothing but harm her career and image even more. Many started to see Ice Spice as a disloyal and a user, pretty much agreeing with Stormy's initial claims, and this was the start of Ice's career melting. But Ice wasn't done yet, as another feud came to the forefront once Ice went on her Y2K tour. And that was with another emerging talent named Cleopatra, which was Ice Spice's friend. Everything seemed to be going well between the two until Ice invited her as an opening act for her tour, which didn't go too well because Cleopatra went on a mini rant about how Ice Spice was mistreating her while on tour. She stated things like Ice was not getting her food, lying about accommodations, and even leaving her stranded, y'all. It's crazy. And all I'm thinking again is, this is not a good look for Ice Spice. And all it did was prove further that she couldn't be trusted and indeed was a user. But this time, Ice Spice actually took the time out and responded, stating that being on tour was very frustrating and saying that Cleopatra was only telling part of the story and not highlighting their shared positive moments on tour. And then she accused Cleopatra of only stating the negative for attention. But in the grand scheme of things, whether she responded or not, this was not a good look for her specifically. But unfortunately, Ice Spice was involved in even more controversies, especially after her and Central C released their single Did It First. And it sparked relationship rumors, which I mean, this would be all good if Central C was actually single. But instead, his then girlfriend took the TikTok to call out both of them, Ice Spice and Central C. She claimed him and Ice Spice did a PR stunt around her birthday just the day after they broke up. It's crazy. She accused him of cheating on her with Ice Spice. And what did Ice Spice do? Taunt the girl, taunt the issue. And for Ice Spice, this was again not a good move for her. She was quickly labeled a homewrecker and gained much negative media attention. It's like Ice Spice was putting on this bratty mean girl persona, and it was not working in her favor the way she thought it would. All it was showing is that she couldn't be trusted and that she probably wasn't that nice of a person behind closed doors. But in the midst of all of this, Ice Spice wasn't even evolving artistically, and people were starting to get tired of her same old sound. It worked for getting in the game, but staying in the game, you have to give your fans things to look forward to, and you have to wow them. This is including new looks, new sounds, new visuals, just more effort. But as time went on, it appears Ice Spice just didn't want to put the effort in anymore. But to say the least, she continued to run with the same NY Bronx drill style, and her fans were really growing tired of it. But she wasn't just declining artistically, she was also declining socially, with her social media followers plummeting. In one day alone, she lost nearly 500,000 followers after being involved in a series of controversies. So at this point, the ice is full on melting, but it's still solid in the middle, which means she has a chance to fight back, to prove herself. So at this point, Ice Spice is already on the decline on almost every platform, and she has one chance, just one, to show her fans and everyone else that she can bring something new to the table, rather than the same old. And on January 30th, Ice Spice announced her debut album Y2K would be on the way. Now, the timing of this was pretty interesting, considering her EP Like had barely made a year old, and the deluxe was still fairly fresh as well. But nonetheless, the public was ready to receive her body of work. And then she released the lead single, which would be Thank You to Ish, Fart, which appeared to be yet another TikTok song that lacked creativity. Her fans were again disappointed and underwhelmed. However, the song did manage to debut on Billboard 100 at number 37. But despite this, her decline was happening, and you can see it from her last singles, as Fart didn't do as good as Deli, and they both didn't do nearly as good as Princess Diana. But many fans were already over her debut album just from this lead single alone, and I think at this point she had a lot to prove, as she was feuding with another popular artist, Lotto, who she had an ongoing beef with, who also was releasing the album around the same time as Ice. Not to mention that the time of Ice's release was near the holidays, which was not going to work in Ice's favor unless she purposely needed a reason to say why it didn't perform well. But we'll get there. So throughout 2024, Ice released multiple singles including Fat Butt, Did It First, and Tuts, but only 2 of them were able to chart on the Billboard. And at this point, people were seeing Ice's music as merely a little vibe, and people simply was not taking her serious as an artist at all. The songs were not sticking long enough. Look, and at this point, Ice has already released nearly her entire album, but the label was very confident that the album would do very well in the first week. But many still insisted that Ice Spice was indeed the princess of rap. So let's fast forward, and Ice finally released her debut album, Y2K. So the album only sold 28,000 in the first week, and it peaked at number 18 on the Billboard. But me personally, I don't think this was bad for her specifically, but due to the hype she got in the feud with Lotto, that made these numbers look horrible, although Lotto only went on to sell 29,000. So it's looking like this was just overall a bad week for anybody to release. But despite getting outsold by the artist that she was feuding with, the album also was rated a 7.6, which in my opinion, that wasn't bad for her. But it was clear that Ice Spice was facing issues. She simply was not growing as an artist, and she was letting her Ice Cube melt. Not to mention, she was drastically changing, and it was kind of concerning. She was losing a lot of weight abruptly, and people were throwing Ozempic allegations out like crazy. At this point, Ice was not even known for her music anymore, but something completely different. But you guys want to know what's the good thing about being an Ice Cube? It can be made again. So, can Ice Spice refill the trade and start over? Well, I do believe that Ice Spice could make a comeback and get back to her strength and cube form, as long as she rebrands herself and reinvent her music style. She doesn't seem to have a problem staying up to date with trends, so all she would need to do is have a strategic plan and bring something new to the table. And maybe if she changed her marketing tactics from controversial heavy to something more subtle and strong, that way she can rebuild her reputation as a serious artist and not just a TikTok artist. And then maybe let's add some PR campaigns to help her repair her image, because this would definitely do her some justice. But I do believe if Ice Spice makes some of these changes, she has a good chance at reinventing herself and getting back to that solid cube form again. With that being said, thank you guys for watching, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social medias, and I'm out.